Hello and welcome to Make and Bake. I'm your host. Yes, I'm Warda. I'm passionate about sharing my favorite recipes and techniques with you. I'll be guiding you through step-by-step tutorial to help you create delicious homemade food. If you didn't get to see the previous video how to make the cream, please here's the link. Go back, watch the video and come back. We continue. So for this video I was supposed to cover the cake and do the design vintage, but I found the video too long, so I will divide it at two. So for this video it's just covering the cake. If you're a beginner, you're starting your journey on the cake, this will be really helpful. I tried to cover all the bases on how to cover a cake. Here are the things you'll need. I have a turntable, I have a spatula, and I have a scraper, which there are three different types of scraper. There's metal, there's acrylic, and there's plastic. For me, the metal works better, but you can go with what suits you most. I have my cake here ready, filled. Tip number one, make sure the scraper is the same size as your cake or taller than your cake. You don't want it to be short. That's tip number one if you're a beginner. Step number one, we are crumb coating. Crumb coating is just covering all those crumbs cake you have so that you can have a nice finish with your frosting. So it's just a small layer of the cream, not too much, just to cover all the cake, and then we'll go to another step. So just try as much as you can to cover all those holes. You see those small the holes I have, the gaps of the layers. I'll try to cover that and then we continue. I tried my best not to forward this so you get to understand each step. I'm going in with the scraper now. So tip number two, use a non-stick mat. For me, I always use a non-stick mat. For this video, I just had another cake, so I used the non-stick mat. So they got dirty, I had to wash them and they're wet now, I can use them. So you'll see me struggling with the cake board moving here and there because I don't have the mat. How to hold your scraper. Don't hold your scraper straight, okay? You see how I'm holding mine? That's how you're supposed to hold your scraper. Let the turntable do the work, okay? Whatever you get from the scraper, use a spatula. If you have any holes, go back, make sure to cover all those holes. Don't skip. This is the most important first stage you need to go with. Cover all those holes, scrape. Lesson number two, how to rotate your table. So for me, you see my thumb is up on the board because I don't have a non-stick mat. But if you have a non-stick mat, the board is not going around. You don't have to use your thumb, okay? Just keep rotating. I'll put this in the freezer for 10 minutes to chill. And now it's back from the freezer. Tip number three, you can use a piping bag now to fill the cream, go around the cake, or you can just use your spatula. Tip number four, make sure every time your batter sits, give it a good mix, cause it kind of form the air pockets. Just give it a good mix before you use it again. Step number three, we are now covering the cake, okay? Using a spatula. You see the importance of the non-stick mat, how the board keeps moving around. Don't skip that tip. Lesson number three is how to hold your spatula. Not straight. You see how I'm holding mine? That's how you're supposed to hold your spatula. Go around the cake and don't be like, oh, the cream is too much. No, the cream is not too much. Trust me, we will scrape that all. We just want to make sure we cover every hole, every that tiny piece sometimes you don't see. That's why we put the cream there. So just go around, make sure you get it everywhere, and then remove the excess. Go with your scraper, hold it how you're supposed to hold. Don't hold straight. Let the turning table do the work for you. Your hand and the scraper, they are just there on the cake. Don't move your hand. Let your hand be there on the scraper. Let the turning table do the work for you. Tip number five, make sure you clean your scraper every time you go around the cake. Clean your scraper, put the butter back. Just keep turning your table, let your hand be where it's supposed to be, okay? Keep cleaning the scraper every now and then. That's how you end up with a nice clean cake. So for me, I feel like I have the butter most down. On the top I didn't have, so I just added some butter, some cream, frosting cream, the buttercream, to cover all those the empty spaces. As you can see, my hand is just there. The turning table is doing the work for me. And I see there's a plastic turning table. I don't advise using those. They're kind of slow. If you can invest with this metal turning table, they are the best. So you'll keep going. If I have any holes, I see there's any gap, I'll try to fill in the gap until I'm happy with what I have. Like I said, I didn't want to forward it. I'm sorry if you thought the video is too long. That's the warning, the video is too long. I just wanted you to understand it. Just keep going, rotating until you are happy with the results. Now going with the spatula, I'm cleaning the top. Step number 4, put it back in the freezer for about 10 minutes. Step number 5, it's color your buttercream. So you have two options. You can divide it a little bit if you're in a rush. Add your food color. I'm using powder, you can use gel. I'll microwave it for 10 minutes because I was in a rush. I didn't want to microwave the whole thing because it takes long for it like to come back together, maybe 30 minutes. So that's why I just did a little bit, melt it, and then I'll add it in the rest of the cream. But for me, I was looking for a light green, so I knew because now I have a dark green, if I add it in the light cream, it will fade to light green. Okay, if you're looking for a deeper color, take the whole bowl, put color until you're happy with your color. If you microwave it, it helps a lot to get that nice color. I'll give it a good mix. If you feel it's a little bit like runny, just put it in the fridge for a few minutes and it will be good. For me, it's okay because I just microwave it a little bit of it. And now I'm ready to use. This is the color I was aiming, a light green. Nice and smooth. I love this cream. So my cake is ready, chilled in the fridge for around 10 minutes. Don't let it chill in the freezer for too long or the cake will sweat. Now we are doing the final coating, which is coloring. Okay, here is so advisable you do this stage, the last one, because if you color your whole cream, imagine the cake, if someone cuts, it's just green. That's too much food coloring. That's why step 1 and step 2 you don't add food coloring. Now you add a food color, which will be a nice thin layer of color. Okay, just keep that in mind. You don't want too much food coloring until someone's lips, if it's green, you'll see it's green. Okay, don't do that. Just do white, finalize the last one with a nice thin color. Okay, so this, I'm just aiming a nice thin green color. Now I'll go with my scraper. I'll just scrape until I'm happy with it. Just scraping. If I have excess, I'll remove it. And I use a spatula. If I have any holes, I'll use the excess to fill the holes. and you'll just keep going until you're happy with what you have. The same method will apply if you're using the ganache, American buttercream. It's the same thing, okay? It applies. There's no different here. Those small holes, they bother me so much. You always have to like cover all them up, but if you're okay with that, you can just go with that. For me, I always make sure I cover every like tiny hole. The last step, what I like to do, I like to wash the scrape, okay? Give it a nice wash, and then I'll go with the final round. Now I'm happy. I will put step 7, put in the freezer for around 10 minutes. The purpose of putting for the freezer, we want now to clean the top with a nice edge, okay? Using a knife or a scraper, don't use something, tip number 7, don't use something, use something metal, not something plastic. Go around gentle. If you do fast, you can break it, because remember your butter is cold and frozen. Slowly cut it. It's so easy, and it's cuttable because it's frozen. So yeah, clean your scraper. You see that hole there? It's bugging me, so I have to fill that. Go one last round on top to make sure my top is nice, no gaps, nothing. You see that's how you're supposed to hold your scraper, by the way. Clean up the edges, clean up the side. Now I'm finalizing everything. So every time you swipe the top, tip number 8, clean your scraper. Use a towel, napkin, anything. Every time you like swipe the top, take a napkin, clean your scraper. You'll have a nice clean finishing without a mess. And that's how we finish the cake. It's ready to decorate, to do anything you want. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you want to see next. Was this helpful? Let me know in the comment. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video to do a vintage cake.